What's up, Kendl? This is the tutorial on how to use the finger sequencer when you're using one of the synthesizer engines. Hold down Shift and hit the sequencer button. Highlight finger and hit the sequencer button again. Now we're in finger sequencer with our two little hipsters. Regardless of whether you're using drums or synth engines, the finger sequencer has the same functionality. Move from step to step while turning the blue knob, or holding down Shift and pressing left or right arrows. Hold down Shift to enter notes into the sequencer. Hold down Shift and turn the blue knob in order to erase notes. The green knob controls the amount of swing. Turn it to the right to increase the amount of swing. Turn it back to the left to reduce the amount of swing. The white knob is used to control how many steps are in your pattern, from 1 step all the way up to 32 steps per pattern. Keep in mind that even if you have programming on all 32 steps, you can turn the white knob and reduce the amount of steps in the pattern, all the way down to 1 or 2 steps, and you'll still retain all of the programming that you put in. You just re-expand the amount of steps by turning the white knob to the right. All of your programming is retained. Hold down a pattern key and turn the red knob in order to start hold playback. You can now remove your finger from the keyboard and the pattern will continue to play. Turning the red knob to the left releases the hold and stops pattern playback. The red knob has secondary functions, which are accessed by holding down Shift and turning the red knob. These functions are replace, join, and lastly, fill in. Before looking at these playback functions, keep in mind that when you're within the sequencer, all of these white keys represent different patterns, not notes. So before you can program your pattern, go ahead and exit the sequencer by hitting the sequencer button. Now all of the white and black keys will play notes, and you can write your part. When you're ready, press the sequencer button to get back into the finger sequencer to program your part by holding down Shift and playing the notes. Let's look at the playback function I find most useful, replace. To demonstrate replace, I've pre-programmed 2 baseline patterns. Pattern A is on this first white key, and pattern B is on the second. Using replace, you can switch back and forth between patterns in perfect time. Start playback on pattern A, and then while it's still playing, hold down pattern B. When pattern A is done, it will switch to pattern B, keeping in time. Press the key for pattern A, and when pattern B is done playing, it switches back to A in perfect time. Let's take a look at the next function. Go ahead and hold down Shift and turn the red knob to the right until you see join. Join takes 2 patterns and stacks them on top of one another. Let's stack this pattern using join with this pattern. Starting playback on the first, and when we're ready, adding the second. The 2 play on top of each other. Take one away, add it back in. The third playback function is called fill in. Get to it by holding down Shift and turning the red knob to the right. I often use this function for variations in arpeggiations. Let's look at an example. I programmed 2 pretty basic patterns. This first one just goes between D and A. The second pattern is a descent in the key of D. Fill in allows the interruption of the currently playing pattern by selecting another pattern. You can do this many times during playback to add variation. When you release the second pattern key, you'll go back to the step in the first pattern that was interrupted. So it's pretty easy to get off time using this function. Let's try putting all these functions together. I'll start by using the replace function on a bass line. Replace the first pattern with the second pattern. Let's use fill-in function to add that arpeggiation with variations. Let's listen to the final result.